Now, what kind of considerations should a foster parent be thinking about when it comes to their own pets that they have in the home and any possible contamination?
That's certainly a good point. It doesn't preclude folks from the shelter, from the program rather, if they do have pets at home already. I always say if it's a pet of the same species as the foster animal that you're bringing in, we do recommend that you keep the foster animal separate from your pets at home. And that's primarily to protect the health of your own pet. Oftentimes the animal is going to be sick. Again, with that kennel cough or upper respiratory infection is mostly what we see in foster situations. Certainly keeping your pets at home up to date on their vaccines. That's pretty much the #1 way that you can protect your own animals. And then when you do interact with the foster pet at your house, washing your hands after you have interactions or after you've pet or played with the foster animals. So those are all things. We've been very, very lucky and have had minimal to no cross-contamination of germs to the pet at home. So, so we've been lucky in that regard.
So I would think, too, that one of the considerations might be space. If you have a dog at home and you have to keep the foster dog separate, do you actually have a room to be able to do that?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point, too, is how is your house set up? Oftentimes foster parents will find it useful, even for the small litter of kittens, to separate them just to keep them contained and so that they don't have the run of the house. Foster parents will use a separate bedroom, a spare bathroom as well. A lot of times foster parents will find it useful to section the animal off in the home with using baby gates or a kennel or some containment device such as that, especially when they're not home, to monitor the animal in the home as well. So,
right.
Yep.
Well, I just want to remind our callers this is a live call-in show, so please feel free to give us a call here at 312-738-1060 if you have any questions at all about the foster care program at the Anti-Cruelty Society. What are some of the challenges that the foster parents face?
One of them that we talked about already is falling in love with the animal and having to give it back to the shelter to give up for adoption. I personally have had experience in that. I had joked earlier that we call those folks foster failures. I'm officially a foster failure myself.
As am I.
The second dog that my husband and I fostered, we ended up adopting. So, and couldn't be happier with her. She's absolutely the love of our life. So that's a challenge you have to consider, is that you do fall in love with the animals and you're asked to give them back. But again, that's where considering your lifestyle really plays a role. You know, a lot of people are just not able to take on permanent pets, so I think that helps with the transition. Another challenge is that these are needy animals. Certainly any dog or cat that you would take home as a pet has needs. It needs to be walked, it needs to be fed, the litter needs to be changed, it needs attention on a daily basis. But because these animals are sick and underage, they need a little bit extra love and attention than any other pet would. That includes administering medications, monitoring feeding and potty habits. So there is a little bit more involved, than just taking home a cute dog or cat and cuddling. So those are some of the challenges that folks face.
What about the joys?
Well. Oh, the joys are endless. We can go on and on. Do we have another show to talk about that? Certainly the joys are just bringing a dog home, a dog or cat home, a fluffy somebody, knowing that you've helped an animal in transition into finding its permanent placement in a home. Again, we do at the Anti-Cruelty Society have the luxury of having space available to take care of these animals in the shelter. A quick statistic to throw out there for the cats: the average cat spends 9 days in the shelter before adoption if it does not get sick. If it gets sick, it spends 63 days in the shelter before it's placed for adoption. So taking an animal into your home that's sick and that needs fostering literally is the difference between 63 days in the shelter or 9 days, which could make all the difference for the comfort and for that animal. So
sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it looks like we have another caller. Sylvia, you're on the air. What's your question?
Hi. I was watching, and I know that in order to be a foster parent to a child, there's a screening process you have to go through. And so I was just wondering if there was any type of screening process you had to go through if you wanted to be the foster parent of an animal?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have an application process. It's just a physical form that we ask you to fill out. We ask about your history with animals, your background with animals. We inquire about any pets that you have in the home already. We ask some anticipatory questions as well. Where do you plan to put the animal? Are you comfortable administering medications? And questions like that. And then after that is sent to myself at the shelter, then I invite you in for an interview to kind of go over the details, answer any questions that you have about the program. And then we do a tour of the shelter as well. That's pretty much it as far as the application process is concerned. All of that information is on our website as well. So you can also give me a call. My information is on the website, and I can mail you out a packet, but the application is there as well.
Thanks so much for your call.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that's it for us tonight. I'm Alicia Obando from the Anti-Cruelty Society, and I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening on CAN TV21. The Anti-Cruelty Society is a 501c3 private nonprofit organization, and we receive no government funds or funds from any national humane organizations. To learn more about the Anti-Cruelty Society and how you can support our great work, please feel free to go to our website. That is www.anticruelty.org, or you can always give us a call as well to that number there on the screen. So I'd like to thank our guest, Darlene. Thank you so much for coming.
No problem.
Hopefully many people out there are going to be calling and signing up. That would be wonderful. And also thanks to our little Jingles, our puppy here today. And please tune in again next Thursday, which will be our final show for this quarter. We're going to be talking about how to properly socialize your dog. So good night.